very good afternoon to you, our viewers. Welcome to that wonderful episode of the Roundtable, where we analyze socio-political matters and we bring all the sides to you and eventually lay the facts bare before you on the ground. My name is Shegun Odunayo. We have two interesting guests like we always do, and we'll be having a great time talking about some who leave his party entirely with the entire past governor, with his local government chairman, with everybody in the state, and move over to the ruling party. But yesterday, Governor Sheriff Ovoriboyi of Delta moved from the PDP. I mean, well, there's going to be a rally on Monday, but you know, from all reports we've gotten, he has moved from the PDP. It was announced by his one of his commissioners. They've moved to the APC. And reports have it that many others are planning on moving to the APC as well. Some northern stakeholders, some stakeholders in the south, and there's some more governors. There was a report that said expect 4 more governors, that there are 5 that will be moving. Now this is just one out of a possible 5. I'll be starting with you, Mr. Adekunle Adio. I mean, I said it just some minutes ago or some seconds ago. The coalition we were expecting was not the PDP, APC getting bigger, but the opposition, maybe not necessarily PDP, but the opposition becoming fuller and richer. How is the APC getting these persons?
It tells you that the APC is working the work. And they're not just talking, they're doing the groundwork. Other coalitions are trying to do the work, but too much talk. You see that if that governor can move in and join the APC, you now say anybody can join the APC from whatever party. And this is not the first time, let's all know that this is not the first time that the sitting governor is moving all his machinery into a party. But this is my fear for the APC, because it has happened before. During the days of Jonathan, you can see how people were joining the PDP, and the PDP was swelling and swelling. And in the long run, even with all that swell, they lost to the minor APC. So
the APC too came on board by
such coalition too. Yeah. But you see, so as much as it is allowed, you can decamp, you can move for the development of the people. It's your right. Freedom of association and gathering. So they've done that, but it's a big blow to the PDP. Why am I saying that? I thought when the daughter of one of the prominent person in that state decamped from the PDP and moved to the APC, it was now an opportunity for the current governor to hold sway and hold the party well, even with the running mate of Atiku, that look, now we now own this party, there's nobody that's going to compete with us. But I'm so surprised that just yesterday the whole machinery of government in that state moved to the APC.
That's a big one.
And whoa, it's like going to join your enemy's camp and say we want to fight the war together. Now only which war again is here to fight when you are going with the enemy. But again, it's beautiful. That's why we are human beings. We are dynamic. You can never tell the next move. Even with all these moves, it is not a uhuru yet for the incumbent APC ruling government to say they will clinch that election come 2027. It's still political games, and everybody is moving, aligning and realigning. You know, I told you, I said there will be alignment and realignment. This is one of the things we are seeing. So it's a good one. It's a good one. Let's wait and see what's going to happen for the coalition of the Atiku that people are expecting to coalesce. Because again, it tells that, look, there's a problem in the APC. Maybe he will not get a ticket. Is he going to float a new party? What would this coalition really do? Are they going to join the SDP? And would the SDP allow them to take over the machinery? So there are so many questions. But again, this is alignment and realignment. We judge, we don't war, we disagree to agree. So it's a beautiful game. Politics is so fantastic in this country.
2 years ago, Governor Patrick Okowa was moving around Nigeria from one state to the other, telling them why the APC was a party that was impoverishing them, was a party that was destroying Nigeria, and that Nigerians should support his party. They came second, they didn't win, according to results released by INEC. But 2 years after, is it up to 2 years? This is April. Just about 2 years after, he's not moving to the SDP. Neither is he moving to the Labour Party. Rather, he's moving to that same party that he told us 2 years ago to kick against, to kick out. I mean, politicians, how do they do this thing?
Well, we should start with this, that politicians in Nigeria, we cannot generalize. Let me say majority of them don't have the interest of the people at heart. And,
Really?
that's the truth.
Wow.
So the first thing we have to know is that politicians, they go to where they want to fulfill their own political ambition. So like where the grass is greener, that's where they want to go to. Now, having said that, so I would say it's not really surprising to see any politician defecting to opposition party, just like what we saw yesterday with former governor Okoa, Delta State governor rather, and with even the sitting governor, Sheriff, going to another party. So, number one, having said that, they don't really have the interests of Nigerians at heart. Then, number two, just like what Mr. Aliyu said, APC is really doing underground work. That is the truth. And when you have the person as the president, that is President Bola Tinubu, with what he did in Lagos when he was the governor, and like what some political analysts are saying, that where you see the president, he tried to win people to his side. And that is what I can tell you that President Tinubu is trying to achieve ahead of 2027 general election. So, like I said, we cannot really be surprised that this is the handiwork of the president and his people trying to talk to people to move them to their party, especially when you know that these political bigwigs, they have bigwig with the opposition. Then definitely he will try everything as much as possible to win them to his side.
So what will they be saying to Delta people now? That the same party, they said, don't vote for, don't campaign for, don't send them. I mean, I'm talking about Delta people now. The average voter, the non-politicians, non-partisan people, but people who just agree with the message of the PDP and agree with the message of Okoa, Sheriff. Of course, Okoa campaigned for Sheriff, was the speaker before he became governor. People who have been, in alignment with their political ideology. How are they going to be feeling like this morning?
The campaign, we should understand, just don't come just one day. The rumor had been there on for a long time. People have been saying Sheriff is going to move, He denied it 3 times. There was a time it was so much in the media. He also came out vehemently. The man that was speaking yesterday came out vehemently and denied it and said no, he cannot leave the commissioner for information. He said no, the Sheriff cannot move to a dead party, blah, blah, blah. So I guess there would have been a lot of consultation. Yeah, there has to be a lot of consultation from up to down, from middle to center. And look, this is the reason. He said by Monday he's going to give us a clear picture.
They said it's going to be a rally, a major rally.
So because it's going to be welcome. Now, as much as we love that, or we want to say we human beings are dynamics in these things, I'm looking at what's going to happen to the former rep member or speaker that is from that state.
Deputy Senate President.
President, who is eyeing the governorship.
Omagege.
Omagege, who is eyeing the governorship of that state. So
he lost in 2023.
He's still eyeing to be governor. Yeah. What's going to happen to Boris' daughter? Who I'm palpitating that she's also eyeing to be governor. So it's like they are bringing battle into the house that looks settled. But again, you will tell your followers that, look, this is where they said, let me quote them, they said, it's for development of the state. That they want to go to APC so that they can consolidate and bring more development to the people. And so are you not aligned with the federal before now? Is there anything the federal is depriving you as an opposition state? You are not being deprived. You get all your rights. Yes. Now, even when you are aligned, it's not because you are from APC, the president will give you special ticket. No. You only have maybe ears that you are in the same party and you can discuss. But everything that a state needs, no state can say because it's not an APC state is being deprived of one development or the other. So, but whatever, he's still going to encourage his people to have hope. And I look, they will bring development. So when they tell you we're going to bring development, it's like winning you to their side. So they must have discussed before now. So after discussion before now, you bring hope that, look, we're going to do better because we are moving. And you ask yourself, when they say the PDP had issues and the PDP is dead, blah, 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 you ask yourself, you guys are the PDP in that state. You as the governor is the number one citizens or number one party member of the PDP in that state. If you are moving, it tells there's a lot of questions begging for answer that I don't want to say on air because as the number one person I say you're moving, probably your leadership style is weak or you don't even know how to maneuver. You just want to go to where, like you said, the grass is greener. And I'm wondering which grass is greener.
Where there's bread.
What's bread? You're not deprived of your bread. You're taking your bread somewhere that they're going to share big. You're going to lose a lot because you're going to share big. If he still wants to retain, okay, like yesterday now, somebody was calling that he should get the ticket for the APC governorship in that state come 27. And already the APC members that are there are already crying that no, the person that made this call should be suspended and should be dealt with because he's going to slug it out with others. What if he doesn't get the ticket?
The governor won't get it.
Would he decamp to another party again?
How would the governor not get it?
You have another big wigs that he's going to contend with.
All right, quick one. What is interesting is that more persons are said to be on their way.
Yeah.
More governors. There was a particular governor who came out and said, even though I'm from so party, I'm supporting the president in 2027. He came out and he made that statement. I mean, many persons had expected that he would even be the first of the rumored five to defect. Now, this is the question: how strong is democracy in Nigeria? Are we not on the path of one-party system? Is this not the route, the one-party system route?
Yes, just like you said, I think I cautioned myself earlier not to mention that now that the uncle has said it. I think Nigeria is just tilting towards one-party system. So in a way, we might not really look like one-party system, but when you have weakened opposition, then definitely what we are seeing is one-party system. And that is what we are working towards in Nigeria if we are not careful. Now, talking about democracy, democracy is still alive in Nigeria, I believe so strongly, because when you're talking about democracy, there are tenets, there are principles of democracy. Now, even this one we are having now is part of democracy.
Of course.
So we can hear our views, in as much as the security operative will still come to disperse people, Nigeria can still gather and protest. So, but when they're talking about politicking in democracy, Nigeria politicians cannot really be taken seriously. Cannot be taken seriously, and at the same time, knowing that the two major opposition parties that I believe, that is PDP and Labour Party. If they really want to wrestle power from APC in 2027, they still need a lot of sitting down. They need to come to their own tables and re-strategize. Yes, and discuss. So, because just like what's being played out now, APC are not really talking, just like what Mr. J, but they are doing underground work. So, what we have been seeing with the PDP and the Labour Party just going around and talking, going to the media, if that one is fine, yes. But what are they doing to really challenge this APC? What are they doing? So by the time we are saying that, that is when we can be confident that Nigeria is not going to be a one-party system in 2027.
All right, very quickly now. The president. Is this 2027 signed, sealed, and delivered in waiting?
I don't think so. No. It's not that easy. It cannot be sealed, stamped, and delivered to him on the platter of wood. It's not that easy.
If he has his governors who are in the majority, and people are coming in, House of Rep members are joining in, some senators are joining in.
Jonathan had everything, and the APC wrestled it out of him. So the people will still decide. It is still the vote. If the bulk of the vote from the people is against the current rulership, they will lose. No matter the political affiliation. If the bulk, let's look for what happened in Lagos. The Labour Party
overran the APC. So
you can see that surprise. So this for me. When you move, you leave room for other small gladiators to grow. So if you know, take for example, the Delta State guys, they moved, Abi, you will see those who will be faithful to that party will come up. And when they come up, they are going to come up good and strong. Because Abination, they've been drafted, they've been pushed to the ground, and they are just trying to come up. Now that the big waves are moved, they will grow the party back and grow it solidly if they are sincere. And when they come out great, we will all see it and say, okay, yes, this political big wigs, they've grown, they've come up, and they're fighting tooth and nail. Like Obi did. Obi left PDP and moved to the Labour Party. And at the Labour Party, it was
6 million plus Nigerians.
It was successful for him, yes. He didn't become the governor, but it was a successful run for the party in power. And it shook the look. Somebody can come from anywhere and take this carpet off your feet if you are not doing well. So I think the campaign is also to tell people that, look, do well. If you don't do well, somebody is coming. And I'm happy that, look, this is the campaign happening so that younger ones, those who are sincere in one particular forum or one particular party, can come up and change the dynamics that has been holding them down. For Atiku, we are expecting him to hold the PDP. But unfortunately, I don't know, maybe it's personal interest or personal ambition. He's not holding the party because don't only use that party as a transport to own the machinery of government. Let the party stand. Let the party work. Put things in order. Call yourself in order. You want to form a formidable opposition. So form that formidable opposition that people can say, okay, we have a good opposition. They are trying their best in all ramifications, but I think Nigerians are not satisfied with the opposition currently now. I don't want to say that. I just want to say they're having to realign and rearrange because it's politics. It cannot be a one-party state. We can't be a one-party state. The way we are going, we are doing well politically. But we need to now put some rules that, look, when you decamp, because that's the problem everybody's saying that, because you're decamping from PDP as a governor, you're going with your title and everything
to the APC.
But maybe if you're decamping, you drop your position. Maybe again, we can now begin to have ideologies. But again, do we have ideologies in our political party in this country?
That's what I understand. Coming as to close on this matter, do we really have ideologies?
We don't. In this country, we don't. In as much as we respect that there is freedom of association, you can go to anywhere. I think the politicians, majority of them, I keep saying majority of them, have lost their dignity, their political dignity. There is still some political dignity that they should say that when we're talking about principles and ideologies, that this is what I stand for, this is what our party stand for. But you see them today coming to the public to say this is who we had yesterday and today this is where we are not, just like what happened to PDP. I'm very sure now these people that they camp now, they will be telling their, just like the question you asked at that time, they will be telling Deltans that, you see, the party we were talking about yesterday, they were no longer like this. Now, this is who we have today. So they can just move anyhow without proper goals. Let me put it that way.
All right, we have to move on to the next topic now. And the reports earlier this week came up and said that the governor of Rivers State is still the governor of Rivers State, even though there's a state of emergency.
Suspended.
Yes, suspended governor of Rivers State. Mr. Sim Fubara met in private with the president in the United Kingdom just before the president came back into the country, and that they had a fantastic discussion, and that there's a strong possibility that he might even be coming back as governor even before the elapse of the 6 months tenure, in quotes now, of the retired military officer who is taking charge of the state. For now, the sole administrator. Quick one. Reports also added that there's a possibility that Fubara may even be joining APC because it was part of the deal. I mean, these reports are coming up, and before you say Jack Robinson, it looks like they're happening. But Fubara meeting the president, what could have gone on in that?
So, if Fubara met the president and the president has sold him his idea of 2027 and joining his party, and he's taking in hook, sink, and liner, that is outside federal government purview. But again, it's politically allowed. You can move party, you can do everything. But again, do you think the henchman or the big man of that state would allow that to happen peacefully? We know that man
as go against the president.
We know that man as a man who can steer the hornet's nest. anytime, any day. So do you think, because he owns a big stake even in this government, as much as he holds in his own political party. So I don't, so Faishewa said, don't fight with Wike, oh. Don't trouble Wike, you cannot win him. Oh. So if Fubara is coming to the APC, allegedly, there's going to be bigger war. Let's expect a bigger war.
What deals could they have struck in that meeting? We all know Fubara is a man that is down at the moment, and he would almost practically do anything to be back in his position. His governor mates are governors running their various states, while he, is just there waiting that luck something helps him back into his position. So a man that is probably that desperate, do you think there's actually nothing he will not sign, no agreement he will not agree to, just put me back where I was?
Yes, I think we cannot blame Fubara. That's the truth. And the reason is, like what we just see, everybody knows that he needs, or let me say, he wants to go back to his seat desperately, and which is natural, which is normal. So there will be, like in politics, they say that there will be compromises. So there will be a lot of shifting grounds.
Wow.
So definitely, I don't know what might have been thrown on the table between the president and governor, suspended governor Fubara, but I think he wants that job back
as soon as possible.
And at the same time, if the campaign is one of the remedy tools, yes, then we should not be surprised, because that's what they do. That's what politicians do. So that won't be any surprise. Another thing I think should be part of the deal will be that let Wike, your godfather, have some say. We know that Wike, for who he is still the godfather in that state, River State. So I think when the president has met with Fubara and said that this is what Wike wants, let's give it to him. You have this, then definitely if he aligns with the president, then he may have his job back as soon as possible.
Is it right? Is it right that it is looking like they are doing Fubara a favor? I mean, of course, anybody in his position will say, okay, take my clothes, take my shirt, just give me my money. I mean, what do you want? Anything you want.
I'm looking at this as if the governor he doesn't have political spine.
So you think you shouldn't have gone into that agreement?
Have tried to meet what he need to do was to find a way to settle with the lawmakers. What is the trouble? The trouble is that, look, there is no government in the state because you are having issues with lawmakers. The budgets have not been signed. So have you resolved that? Because even if you come to the APC and they give you back your position and you still don't have a good affinity with your lawmakers and you still have this issue, there will be another round of emergency rule.
Would the president have declared a state of emergency if Rivers was an APC state?
Why not? What did the Supreme Court say? They had that. If they had that brouhaha like that, it should have. It must come. Lagos brouhaha does not involve the governor. The governor,
the 3rd of March.
Has the governor presented anything?
We are almost moving into. Is it May now? Yes.
So the budget was signed.
Next week.
Was the budget not signed?
The budget was signed.
There was no, the plan
squabbles were not out
so
there.
Is there anything the governor wants to do and he says the House please sit and they are not sitting and there is no compromise and they are not discussing?
The House has not sat.
No, the House has not sat because that's what I'm saying. Is there something the governor needs now and he wants the House to sit and they are not going to sit? Maybe, and they're going to lock the gates against him?
Maybe the governor is not.
So it means he's not having public issues like to that effect. So if there is issues. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, look at the issue. How weighty is the issues? But this of River, you see, it was glaring. They were locking gates against the governor, or the governor was pretending that the gate was locked against him. We can't even show. The House of Assembly was bombed. It's been rebuilt. Every week you have issues. If the Supreme Court had said the lawmakers had defected and they don't have right to be in that place, wouldn't Fubara have shut them all out? He would have. So you see, it was a open battle that we can all see that, look, this is open sore. So the best way is what? Let's remove all the jiggers in it. Let's remove all the problem there and see whether if they're not there, this wound will heal. Now he is supposed to go back and find a way to heal the wounds with the lawmakers, and the lawmakers to come to him and say, let's resolve this case. Let's move this state forward. I said it here. I said, only if the two agree to work together, that is when any peace they're not working together. Ibas came now and is doing a new budget. He's not supposed to do a new budget. He's supposed to run with it, but there's no budget. So with that, it tells you that the Supreme Court was right. There was an issue, and the president too was right to say, look, emergency rule will come so that I can see the kind of development, or I can at least tune you guys to a sensible that, look, you're going to lose this thing. I won't allow this war to go on. So now, it should go back, meet with all the stakeholders and discuss and resolve this issue. His movement to another political party will not solve the issue. It may come to the APC and sit down, and you still have this war, you will get another round of emergency. Because I won't be the president and allow a state to be run like as if it's some area boys without organization.
Question: do you think if Rivers was an APC state, the president would have declared a state of emergency like you did?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay, why?
Yeah, if you look at Lagos State, what I agree that what happened in Lagos State, you will see that executive was not involved. That's the truth. So the fight was within the legislative arm. So, but looking at the River State, I think everyone in that political space was involved. And having said that, I think there is what we call inner caucus, as in settling our inner internal wrangling, so to say. So I believe the president will have called, if it were APC state, it would have called the governor, the lawmakers to the round table, talk to them.
But he called.
He made a call. So and give them agendas or give them.
That's
what would you call it then?
Yes.
We call it agreement.
Agreement. That's what.
Was he rich? Was he breached?
That's
so all these things happen.
That's where I was going to. With that agreement, I believe that even if there was a breakdown first time, the president would have called them again. Yes, the president did he call them the second time?
He did. There was a time they all went. They met like 3 times.
Then I think the president met with them again.
And the second time
told them to
go and settle.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is it. I still believe that if it will be APC, maybe a lot of big wigs will have come in. Stakeholders,
party leaders.
Yes, party leaders, and say that the governor, please do this and do that. So instead of having emergency rule here, let's do it this way. So
the same way party leaders are called in Lagos.
Exactly.
The likes of
let us take note that the president pulled the rug off their feet.
Especially
when discussed the emergency, there was no inkling.
Especially when the president is coming from Lagos State.
Be an emergency rule. Note, there was no inkling. Nobody thought there was going to be an emergency rule. Nobody. It was after the Supreme Court said, look, there is no rulership, no government in this state. Immediately after that, the day it was announcing, we were thinking of something different.
But are you saying the emergency rule was the last resort?
For now.
Over there.
So now.
I believe.
Okay.
I believe that was in the last resort. Yes.
After you have met.
What other conditions will have been explored?
Just like what you mentioned. There are some party leaders that respected party leaders that were supposed to be there in Rivers.
So every day, every time you hear discussion concerning Rivers, you see all the political bigwigs discussing.
It was because of was a PDP state. It's still PDP state.
That's so much bias you putting into it. You're not looking at the situation as you imagine you are the president and these issues are going on. So you have met with all the leaders, all the signals. Sorry, sir. Does that mean met with all the stakeholders, the traditional rulers and so on, including
PDP,
including the bigwigs in the PDP in the states to discuss these issues. And they still could not reach. It's over 2 years, and they could not reach a compromise.
So this is wrong.
I'm saying I will put a sonder to that relationship for a while, so that you guys can go and rethink and realign and come back, so that when you come back, we can have a good rule. If not, emergency rule continues for me. If I am the president, because I will look at the rules on the ground and can we have peace in this state?
So
government
about shifting ground now. the shifting ground, if it involves moving to another party, the president's party, wouldn't that sound chaotic? Wouldn't that look funny?
He has a right to move. Political right.
Is he not moving under duress?
Are they inviting him? Is he going willingly? Is he going? Like he said they moved to where there is a green grass. I mean, is that where the green grass is?
Is there green grass in the president's party because there is green grass?
That's
there's green grass in the president's party because.
Oh, is he moving for selfish reason? So that's what I'm saying. If he moves, it shows he has no spine.
Don't let us forget where we're coming from. It's about their ambition. So, like I said, if Fubara wants this particular seat desperately, any other person could have said that I don't want it, let it go. But if he wants it desperately, then going to APC won't be a problem. That means, in his own definition, that is the greener pasture, the greener grass. That means what was put on the table, I have to embrace it.
So as long as it favors him,
that is it.
Right.
So, but
we have to
Currently now is well favored. He's not managing his favoritism. He's well favored. All you need to do is
Fubara.
all you need to do is lawmakers. What are the issues? These are the issues. These are the issues. Let's resolve it. Oh, I'll present this. I'll present that. He has the card. He's the governor, for crying out loud. He's the number one citizen of the state. He has everything, and you're working with just the number 2, number 3, number 4. So all of you come together and say, we will work this government for the next 4 years, and after that, we can part ways. If they vote us in,
we have to go to our last topic now. And of course, we all know the president returned a couple of days ago, I think 2 days ago now. And one of the first things he did was to meet with the security chiefs, NSA, and other individuals who are bigwigs when it comes to security matters in Nigeria. And that is because of what has been happening in recent days. In the North Central, the chaos and catastrophe that is insecurity challenge has been ongoing and is still very much ongoing. Over 50 persons murdered in just one of these two states. In Bokos, in Plateau State, killings right, left and center. There was even a protest in Jos where the stakeholders in Plateau State, regardless of party, there was Gadi, Honorable Gadi of the APC, there was Honorable Bagos of the PDP, everybody from Plateau to Mangu, from Mangu to Jos, from Jos to Bokos, everybody came together in one room and they told themselves the hard truth, because just very recently, some other this insecurity challenge that has been bedeviling Plateau for well over 2 decades returned once again, and you needed to have seen the pictures. The same way it happened in Benue. Now the Inspector General of Police is going to be pushing out anti-bandit squad. That's new to me. Anti-bandit squad. We used to have anti-terrorism squad. Now it's an anti-bandit squad. Not just in these places, but nationwide, all over the country. Very quick one. This is not the first time we're talking about killings in the North Central on this show, especially in Plateau, in Benue. It's a norm.
Yeah.
And if you have the opportunity of living in some of these places, you will know it's a very regular norm. What is the solution outside of all these meetings, presidential meeting? What is the real solution? What is the real solution to this chaos?
Okay. Firstly, we have to commend the IG and the security chiefs in the country for doing that, for that initiative. Whatever it is, we commend them for doing that.
They are the anti-bandits.
Yes.
I don't know if you'll be commending them in Benue or because
yes, that's one. But now, the solution, like you asked, personally, there are 2 things that we've been battling with in terms of insecurity in this country. Number one, we've interviewed a lot of stakeholders in the country, and they keep mentioning the socio-economic status of these people, the bandits in the forest, because that's what the term they use, that when they leave their town, they move to the forest. What is pushing them to the forest? That has to be solved first. In a situation, villages where there are no facilities, they have to trek distances to go and fetch water. So all of this, no education, no schools. They are being brainwashed by particular people that are inviting them or pushing them
Sect
to
leaders.
Yes. So in as much as we're having this insecurity, I don't know, cannot be solved. That's number one. Now, number two, there was a time that the federal government was talking about the financiers. And a lot of names were detected, were published. So what has happened to them? So, like the security operatives will keep saying that the ammunition, weapons that these people were using, they are sophisticated. So, and they don't get this because they don't get this on the street. They get all these things because of the money, the ransom they pay, and the financiers. Now, if you don't get these financiers, you don't get them prosecuted and put them to where they belong, we are only joking.
You are joking. How do we solve these issues? This is not news.
Okay, so when he was looking at the antecedent, he was looking at some of the Boko Haram or the terrorism set. So I was considering that, look, we need to stop grazing. Open grazing has to stop. So all this banditry started from open grazing. When you discover that you can walk through a very long, lengthy forest for 3 hours.
And you are eating people's crops.
So for that 3 hours, that's where these guys are. They come in, pick people, take them in. We need to stop open grazing. So when we say, okay, nobody should graze in any part of Nigeria, you want to do your cattle rearing, please set up a ranch so that we know that if you are moving in the forest, anyhow, you can be arrested. So we set about
issues, Plateau, Benue. These issues have been
on too long
for decades.
Autumn fought that battle.
Way before Autumn.
One General Akbare was one of their. He fought that battle for Autumn. So these things are there. It's not today. So we need to look at, and what brought about this was, one, the open grazing. And they were saying the Mietela people, the cattle rider, they were the one carrying guns. And for what purpose? The moment we stop open grazing, so don't graze again. So if you are carrying gun in those forests, we know that you are a criminal. So that's one. And two, I think everybody should know is landed property. What I mean by that is that each community, there should be a demarcation. That look, this community owns this property. You cannot come from anywhere and chase them away and collect their land from them. We need to do that because there's a lot of, take for instance, in Oyo, Ulogbo and one community fighting over land. If they know that this belongs to them, this is where our own boundary stops. I think such battles, such people trying to annex one property or the other will not come into being, because you know that, look, they will not give you, even if you kill them, because it's not your own. It belongs to these people and this people. So people will know that, look, this land belongs to this particular tribe and it's not ours. So anybody that is coming to encroach to it and will not get it.
The governor of Plateau State, Barrister Caleb Mufwang, used to be Mangu local government chairman. Mangu is one of the most affected local governments in Plateau State. So the people there voted him thinking, when Mufwang becomes governor, we'll say bye-bye to these killings. The first place that the killing started from under his administration was Mangu. And killings have not stopped in Mangu, despite the fact that the governor is a Mangu man. Now the extension has gone on to Bokos. Even in Jos, there is no stopping it. It's just that you probably don't hear it as much as those villages, because people just die and people move on. Tomorrow people die, people move on. The honest, so don't they know these people's addresses? Don't they know their houses? Don't they have NIN? Don't they have BVN? How do monies get into their account?
Because we have not been able to dealt with publicly and get to the roots cause of it, because too many times there are so many reasons for these battles. Some will say they want to annex land. Some will say we think it's cattle rearer. We think it's that we need to, because it keeps coming every year. How many? Over 150 people have been killed so far in just Plateau alone, and it's wrong.
Now, quickly, as we are about to round off, report even filtered in last week that some hundreds of Boko Haram members were arrested in Lagos.
Yeah, well, that was coming from CJTF or so.
Yes.
Yeah, but if that is true,
even though the commissioner of police was saying the next day,
but
of course I think it's expected that the commissioner of police should any working city will tell you they are on top of the situation.
That is exactly what I was trying to say. So the police refuted those claims, but it's just to tell us that in this country, nowhere is safe.
Wow.
Just about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was in a particular gathering of Yoruba leaders, Southwest, we were talking about insecurity. What we're talking about was still one thing: how to secure the Southwest forest. That these bandits, they were moved from north down to south. You know, it's just that we have to do something. So when you're talking,
as you're saying that,
okay. So when you're talking about insecurity, it's everywhere.
Your state governor was some weeks ago as well, was, you know, saying that their forest had been taken over. They had the reports and all of that and all of that.
If people can move from Kano to Uromi with guns undetected, you call them dingo, whatever you call them, it's gone in it. Something is, I think our security architecture need to be looked into again. How do you travel with such gun from Kano
to Uromi,
to hunt?
What were they hunting?
But they actually said they
agree you can move. Agree, no, you can move. But with guns, that distance to another. So imagine in the forest too. So if those vigilantes did not arrest them and did that dastardly act, which was wrong also.
If they had just arrested them and submitted them to the police,
would have been better. But what did it? Let's leave that. But what I'm saying is that those arms moved. So imagine in the forest. We don't know the numbers of arms people are carrying in those forests, trying to do one thing or the other. So we need to, there's a lot to do. We also need the state police. We need community policing also.
Yes.
State police, a must. To at least create a buffer. Community police is also so that each community can say, okay, I have one sheriff, I have one county sheriff that will see.
That's USO.
I'm just trying to create a scenario that will make it easy for us to police ourselves, because policing is for us. It's to protect us. It's to guide us. It's to keep us. They are not our enemies. They have to work and keep us safe. And we need to keep ourselves safe. So we need the state police. We need community policing.
Mr. Bayo Onanuga, one of the spokespersons of the president, posted and said that the solar they are having in the presidency, he was comparing it with the White House in the United States, where they operate on solar. And he said, I mean, why can't you also operate on solar? There's county sheriff, there's what's the other one again now?
Metropolitan. I don't know.
No, that's in the United Kingdom. In the United States, there's the county police, there's the sheriff. Let's have those here too, so that our people can be safe. All right, it's time for us to go. Our producers are saying it's time for us to go. Thank you to Mr. Biodun.
Thank you.
Sorry, we joined us for the first time.
It's my pleasure.
Fantastic time with us this afternoon. Very thank you to our most regular analyst, Mr. Adekunle Aliu, as well.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Part of this. I mean, had an assignment out there, still beat traffic and beat everything beatable to be here in the studio. So we appreciate him for that. A very big thank you to you, the viewer, for watching, because like I always say, we are here because you are there. Right now, the data is now very expensive. Now cost your fortune to get data on your phone. God will be here next week Thursday again to do what we know how to do best. Talk about the socio-political matters in the country, analyze them from various lenses, and present you with the facts, my brothers and sisters. God bless you. The weekend begins tomorrow, the last weekend in the month of April. Stay out of trouble, guys. God bless you.